Jay here for Stretford Paddock, and this is the Academy preview. Joining me is my good friend David, the man who's been to probably more Manchester United games than anyone on the planet, bar maybe John and Alex Neil. I mean, you do like to go to United games, don't you, at any level?
Yeah, I just like football, don't you? You've got to go, haven't you? I don't like watching it on TV.
You must be cold turkey now without any being able to go to any
been horrendous.
I even saw you at a Stretford Paddock game. That's how desperate you were to watch some live football. That says it all. I'm getting dirty looks off Stephen Howson off camera. We're going to be looking at the academy, at the fixtures, at the players that have gone out on loan and players that you think may have a bit of a say in the season coming up. So it all kicks off on Monday the 14th of September against Leicester City away. Before we get into the fixtures, Dave, how do you think the players are going to cope? Because we've had this massive gap at the academy level, especially with no football. And these are young lads who, they need to be playing competitive games week in, week out, and they've had a little bit of a break from all that. Do you think that it may affect them? Do you think we may have to wait a little while before they get into the levels that they were?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of the team, well, all the teams, when the Premier League was still going on, the Premier League 2 and the Under-18 League were cancelled, so they were all sent home. And they got back into training not too long ago, but every team's in the same boat at the moment, so I don't think the games will be that entertaining when we first see them, but take a couple of months maybe, and then the games will be back into entertaining games. But it's the same for every level, 18s, 23s, and every team.
In terms of United, the sort of level that United are at when they look at the academy, because we know we've had a lot of good players coming through the academy over the last few years, especially more recently under Ole, he's been giving lots of players the chances. How good is this academy team, do you think? Is it sort of a vintage academy team in Manchester United standards?
Yeah, it's a shame really this COVID's happened, because we were in the semi-finals of the FA Youth Cup against Chelsea, and I thought we'd win it really. I mean, even Greenwood, he was still capable to play in that tournament, and I thought,
Imagine that, just pulling Greenwood out, bring Mason back into the fold.
Well, they did it in 92 with Giggs, didn't they? So why not?
They did it in 92 with Giggs, and then the following season, we lost it to Leeds, didn't we? Do you know what I mean? But he made such a difference. It would have been great to see if they'd have done that.
But yeah, if we'd have won that, people would obviously be talking about the next class of United. But I don't even know what's happening with that, to be honest, because the rumours were we got our money for our tickets sent back for that, but they said that game's going to go ahead. But I went to a game last night, a preliminary round of the FA Youth Cup, so who knows?
So you're having preliminary rounds, and then they're saying that the last season's semi-final could go on well. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll get any news on it, and I'm sure you'll be there. In terms of some of the younger players, I know they're not sort of at the academy anymore, but we've seen that Dylan Levitt's going over to Charlton, I think. Yeah. There's talk, at the time of recording, I think, was the talk of James Garner going out to... Yeah. I think he's been linked with Huddersfield, I think.
He's been linked with that, but they're saying that he's going to go to a team by the end of this week.
So by the time you're watching this, he may well already be there. What do you make of that? What do you make of those two players? I know you've seen a lot of them getting a chance to go and get some first-team football.
Yeah, elsewhere. I think that was a big problem. Last season, I think the 23s, although I do like watching it, it's not that competitive because it's just you're just playing the same fixtures really each week, and if you get relegated, if you lose, it doesn't really matter. Whereas you see the players who go out on loan, they're playing in front of fans. Well, they were playing in front of fans. They're playing competitive football against bigger, stronger guys, and it makes them better players for me. And loans are always a good idea, but them two especially, it's been a real shame that they don't go out on loan together, because them two for me, since I first saw them 4 years ago, I think, they were just a great partnership, and they strive to be that partnership. Garner went up in the 23s, and he did okay, but he didn't look as good, and because Levitt was still in the 18s, and when Levitt came up, them two together again, they'd both complement each other so well. And I think if they went on loan together, it'd just benefit United, because when they come back, you could put them in cup games easily.
Yeah, we saw them playing together, didn't we? Was it against Astana, was it?
Yeah.
In the Europa. In terms of Garner, I mean, I've been to some bumps in at you a couple of times, like the under-23s. Took my kids down there a few times, and Garner seems to be the one that everyone was speaking about when I went there last. I think he scored as well, and it was all about like James Garner, and he's the one to watch sort of thing. Do you think he's going to sort of reach the very top, or do you think the jury's still out? Because it's difficult to tell with some of these young lads. And like you say, the step up to the 23s was a bit of a step up for him. But do you think he's got what it takes?
Yeah, them two I've just mentioned, I think they're both capable. But the problem is that United we've just got an overload of midfielders at the moment. And you think, when are they going to get their chance, really? They're still young, which is okay, I suppose. Maybe in a couple of years when they'll get the chance. But we've just signed Van der Beek and things like that. And they must be thinking, am I going to get into this team? So, once again, a loan's really good for that, because
Sorry, I'm just looking at it. Stephen Howson has got is it a grenade? With the pin in his fingers. Why are you stood there smiling, holding a grenade with a pin? And do not edit this out, Callum. I want people to see the sort of nonsense I have to put up with. Me and David has come down and waited around to record this video, and then Stephen Howson's messing about. Don't even come near me with that. What is that? Smoke. Right, go away with your smoke bomb. No, I'm not.
Is that for the first Paddock game?
Honestly,
the Ultras.
This is what we're up against. We're trying to have a serious conversation about the future of Manchester United Football Club, and he's messing about with smoke bombs in the background. I apologise for that, David. Absolutely disgraceful scenes. You were talking then about the overload midfield and the fact that, you know, some of these youngsters, Levitt, and Garner in particular, they may have to wait a turn. I mean, we've seen it with McTominay, haven't we, where some people at one point thought, yeah,
I was one of them. I didn't think he was good enough. He was just picked because he grew a foot and he was a big lad, and that's Mourinho type of player. But it shows you what I know, because I think this season, the first half of this season, he was phenomenally one of our better players. And it's really been forgotten because Bruno came in and he didn't play much in the Project Restart, and people seem to forget how well McTominay did before that. But yeah, I mean, he's another one. I think he's going to stay in that team, so it's hard for these younger players to get in. It's going to take a while, and that's why I think they say loans are good for him. There's other defenders in midfielders in there, Traore, who are really great, Galbraith, who's good. I mean, he's about as well. He's played for Northern Ireland's first team. He's currently with the under-21s. When he scores, I mean, I've never seen him score a bad goal. Every goal's like a volley outside the box. I mean, phenomenal goals. So it's going to be awkward, but like I say, them two, if they don't go out on loan, I think they'll be the midfield for the 23s next season.
Do you think, you know, you've spoken about like how the sometimes the standard in the 23s, you're playing the same teams week in, week out. As I said, I've been there a few times, and you know, it does have that sort of friendly feel to it almost. That sometimes you wonder whether there's that cutting edge.
They want to win, obviously, but it's one of them. We've been promoted now. We finished second, and I think we got promoted into the first division. But for me, it doesn't matter what division you're in. No. I think all the games are. If you're in the first division, second, it doesn't matter. They're all a similar type of games. They're all as competitive as each other. But it's not the same as playing, you know, where you're depending on points. And if you do get relegated, it means something. You know, that's why a loan for me it's got to be better for a player. And you hear about players who've been out on loan, and they always say it's the best thing they ever did.
Well, we've seen it in the past. I mean, you know, United have a long history of obviously academy players and players coming through, but some of our most successful players have gone out on loan. You know, I mean, I remember years ago, I'm showing my age, Dave Beckham went to Preston. They still love him in Preston. I used to work in Preston. I think he played 5 games, and I think he sort of turned it around from them. They were about to get promoted, and then Fergie called him back because we had an injury crisis, and then they tailed off and missed out. But I think he just played a handful of games and had an impact. And, you know, I mean, more recently, but we saw it in terms of, you know, Jesse. I know he gets a lot of stick, Jesse Lingard, but he went out on loan again and again and again until he came back into the United team, helped win some trophies and got into the England team.
Yeah, and you look at, I've said this before, yeah, he's not been great recently, but before that, he was scoring goals left, right and centre, playing well, and sometimes players people expect him to be like Greenwood, where you just come in 17, 18 and hit the ground running. Not like that for every player. Some players, it takes you up to like 23, 24, and I think the loans do help. I mean, what did Jesse go out for? Different loans?
He went out a few, didn't he? He went to Birmingham, Brighton. Oh, there's a few. I can't remember. I'm not missing. Is it for us? I can't remember. There was quite a few, because I think it was almost Leicester.
Yeah.
It was almost a surprise when he got his chance under Van Gaal. Everyone was like, really? Okay. But obviously he took it until, as you mentioned earlier, recently, you know, last season or so has not been great. On the sort of subject of getting your chance, how much do you think it helps some of our academy lads, knowing that you've got a manager like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because you mentioned Jose Mourinho there and Scott McTominay, but, you know, Jose Mourinho was never going to give. No. I mean, Rashford was his get-out-of-jail-free card because Marcus was a first-teamer, and whenever Jose, as United manager, was asked about giving youth, in inverted commas, a chance, he was like, well, Marcus plays every week. Come on, Marcus has been at the club a few years and sort of forced his way into the team. Do you think when these young players look at it under Olin, they see the likes of Brandon, they see the likes of Mason getting a chance, they see the team that he put out in the Europa where it was like, you know, Laird and Levitt and Garner and everyone else who have mentioned, do you think that helps to know you've got a manager there, or do you think it's just a case it doesn't really matter, this is Manchester United, you just got to get on with it?
Now it does, but I think when he first came in, no, because it took him a while to do anything. I think I was a bit critical of him saying he don't play youth. It's a bit of a myth, because the players he's playing have already been playing under Mourinho, and everyone's saying, "Oh, well, they're youth players," but no, it's not. It's about giving people debuts and giving people a chance. But more recently, he has. I mean, look at the last game at Old Trafford. He played Ted and Menga. He gave him his debut, which was brilliant because what centre back he is. I mean, he's still an under-18 player, really, but he's playing for the 23s.
I just want to ask you about him, Ted and Menga. I've not seen a lot of him, I'll be honest, but I keep hearing a lot about him. Like, you're raving about him.
Me and him argue about him, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard
he thinks Tuanzebe's a better player at that age.
Right, he's pointing at Stephen Housen there.
Menga? No, you're wrong.
Right, we won't get into that one, but how good is he? Do you think he's got what it takes to reach the very top? Because everyone keeps raving about this kid.
When we're doing the fan cams and stuff like that within the Youth Cup, I said he's the future England United captain. He just is that. You can just see it in him. He's just a leader, and he's a big lad. I mean, I think he was 15 the first time I saw him for the 18s when he made his debut, and he just looks like the oldest player there. He just like the oldest player there. He was like over 6 foot, big, strong. And when he moved up to the 23s, I think he was 17. He was best player on the pitch, just getting balls away, and he's just a real leader. And yeah, I really rate him.
How far do you think someone like him could be from the first team? I know it's a big question, and it's a massive step up going from the academy to the Manchester United first team, especially at the levels we're at now, where we're trying to challenge again. But do you think that this could happen within the next few years?
Possibly. I mean, he's still a kid, isn't he? You know, and it's centre back where when you look at in the past at centre backs, they're always more mature players, whereas he's still quite young, but he's got the potential to do it for me. I think he'll be right up there.
It's good to hear that, and it's good that sort of, you know, you mentioned about the fact that maybe it was a bit of a myth at first volley, but we have seen that recently where players are given that chance, a proper chance as well. Like we've seen with Brandon, haven't we? He didn't just get brought into the team for a game or two. He got given the chance to prove himself.
Well, you got to remember as well, these players, they don't just, we need a left back, we've got in the reserves. These players have been playing well. That's why they get the chance. I mean, Brandon's been playing well for 18s, 23s. He's aggressive. You can see that he puts everything into it. Yeah,
he's proper North Manchester, and he can sell.
Yeah, that's what I miss about watching him really in the 18s, because you just all the stuff come out of his mouth to the opposition players. You don't really hear that at Old Trafford.
Can you imagine? Was it things like, "Oh, well done, good effort"? Yeah. Never mind, don't do that again.
Better luck next time.
You bounder. I can imagine the sort of language that was coming out there. There's been talks, haven't there? Just looking at of United being in for a left back. Reguilon has been linked. Sergio Reguilon, who was at Sevilla, was now at Real Madrid, back at Real Madrid. He was on loan. Do you think that would affect someone like Brandon if we brought in another left back? Because we know he's right-footed as well. I'm guessing he could go on the right. Or he's a sort of player that would be like, you know, he has that confidence that he's not phased. Yeah,
you talk about him can go on the right. It's been a bit of a shame really, but someone like Ethan Laird, he's had injury problems. Them two used to play. One started right back, one started left back, and if it was going great, or they'd carry on that way. But if they used to swap over, and he used to mess
that
with
when I had to one time, I watched with Ethan Laird. He swapped over to the other side.
And I think he'd have got a chance, but for injury, and it's just a real shame because for me he's as good as Brandon on his day, and I think them two could possibly be the future right and left back, but it's going to be difficult.
It's going to be difficult, you're right, and especially, I mean, we don't know what's happening with left back, don't know what's happening with Luke Shaw. There's still a big debate going on whether he's good. Don't know. He's had a decent season, I said, and not as amazing as everyone says, but far from a disaster. Go on.
I was going to say talking to 23s, the 21s played tonight as well in the EFL Trophy.
At the time of recording,
against Salford, which that's a good test. Last season, they got knocked out by Tranmere, but the games up to that, it was real football. And who do we play? Lincoln. That was probably the toughest one, where backs to the wall stuff. We ended up winning, but the players put a real shift in. And that was for me the difference watching the 23s in the Premier League 2 to this EFL Trophy. The real games where they've got to put everything into it.
Do you like that idea? Because when it first was muted, people were criticising it.
I was like that, to be honest. I mean, I didn't think it was fair, but it's good for us, really. It's good for our players, the development of them, and people like Garner in that, and even Chong. I think he really stepped up in that tournament.
I want to ask you a little bit about Tahith Chong, because obviously he's gone out on loan in Germany. He's at Werder Bremen. He's gone to. What do you make of that? Because everyone thought he was going to go permanently. I know you didn't, did you? No. You the one who said, you were saying he's going to go out on loan, and you thought actually it was Gomez who was going to go, and most people were saying it the other way around. Do you see a future at Manchester United for Tahith Chong? Because
people why not?
Still questioning it.
Look at someone like Jadon Sancho, right? He went over to Germany, he's scoring goals, he's doing well. I mean, I know Chong's not scored much, played much at the moment, but he's been playing well, scoring goals in the same league. You know, if he carries on that way...
It's a real strange one with Chong, because I'll be honest with you. Whenever I've seen him for the first team, I've been massively underwhelmed.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to come
this-
here and pretend just because he's an academy player. And I'm not saying he's an talented lad because was that much hype around him and so much being spoken about him, even when Jose was here, that you thought there's got to be something there, a reason for it. And obviously you can see he's a talented kid, but I just felt whenever he was given these cameos, and by and large they were cameos, he just didn't do anything. He didn't get involved. His delivery was a little bit poor, and I don't know whether it was confidence. Whether
I think that's what it was. I think it's the pressure of playing in front of a big crowd.
Yeah, because he was playing at Old Trafford in front of
exactly.
And
now he's playing in the German league. I don't think is there any crowds. I'm not even sure at the moment.
No, I don't think
but you can just express
by
yourself
either way,
and not worry about it. And if he carries on that way, and then they do bring crowds back in, he's already going to have the confidence knowing that he can play that way.
I mean, he seems like a slight kid as well. He seems very
But he's put some. You can see he's put some muscle. I mean, I think they've got them all in the gym. Look at Greenwood.
Send them to where is it? Bayern Munich. That's what you want to do. So, you know, the lads there. See Coutinho with Bayern Munich. He looks like in Adama Traore. But yeah, no, I mean, we saw it, didn't we? You don't necessarily have to change your physique. You just mentioned Greenwood. He didn't suddenly go from being dead skinny to massive, but he put on a little bit of muscle.
He looked.
Marcus did it, didn't he?
Yeah,
you saw him go from like this really skinny 19-year-old to just even when he got to like 20, he just seemed to add a little bit of muscle on, and he's obviously got that strength. Someone like Chong, I mean, you don't have to be big. Jesse's now. Giggs was always very slim when he played, but he had that balance and he had that sort of toughness.
Yeah,
and you know, it'd be interesting.
It does help though because it doesn't matter when you're in your 18s and when you're in the 23s, you're playing similar players to yourself. So if you shoulder barging, it's not going to happen. But when you start getting in the first team, these big lads there, you're going to get bounced around and pushed off the ball. So you need to build that muscle up. And yeah, it's worked for Mason. It's added, a different level for his game really.
I just want to ask you a little bit about Mason. He's been in the news a lot this week, obviously, with what went on with England, and we don't need to get into all that. But you're someone who's watched him from an early age. Do you think he'll be able to handle all this? Because all the attention has been sort of. This is the first time he's probably had a lot of negative attention because he's been like lauded and rightly so as this fantastic player. He's come through the ranks. Everyone's like, this guy's amazing. Now he's getting a lot of negative attention, especially from the gutter press in the country. Who just, that's another story. Do you think he's got the sort of temperament to just be able to go, crack on for United, which is what we really care about as United fans, not what goes on with England?
I hope so, because I think he's just confident in the way he plays. I don't think he's bothered about anything else. I mean, there were stories when he was in the 18s of him, Snapchats that got deleted that were posted about stuff like that, and like, you get over that.
I found that. I thought what was weird for me on that was middle-aged men commenting on a teenager.
That's the thing. I mean,
he's get a grip.
What he did with England was it right? No. But what 18-year-old hadn't done something stupid?
That's it. I mean, my only concern is, I want to see him playing for England. I think that's good for him. I think he's got the potential to be an all-time great, both for club and country. I just don't want him being affected by this for United.
I don't think it will, because
that's what my question is.
I think he's been both of them, even Foden as well. I think they've been sent home because of the COVID thing.
Yeah, I think
if there was no COVID, they'd have played last night.
It was interesting because it made me laugh because Roy Keane was commenting on it because Gareth Southgate did an interview where he sort of said, "We'll see what's going to happen with him." He stuck up from a little bit. He was like, the young lads and they've made mistakes and they'll learn sort of thing, but we'll wait and see and I'll weigh it up sort of thing. And Keane was like, well, he should have just come out and said, I trust him and I'll move forward because trust goes both ways. But I'm hoping that Mason, and from what you and others tell me, he'll be fine and he can just sort of not shrug it off, but take it on board, learn from it, and move on. Because I don't want to see him sort of get distracted or feel a bit overawed. Because England's been horrible to some of our players in the past.
But he's played at youth level. I think he's played under Gareth as well at youth level. I'm not sure when he used to run the England youth. But yeah, listen, when he gets the ball, go back at United playing football again. He'll just put his head down and play football and do what he does best, score goals.
I just want to ask you about this as well, just on the subject of Mason, because I know we're talking about the academy, but technically he's still an academy player. Lots of Jadon Sancho rumours, and I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's another debate we don't need to get into right now. Do you see Mason Greenwood being affected if we bring in another player? Because he's been playing on the right for United,
but he's not a
right winger. Is
Adam still here?
I don't know. Yeah, don't be careful if you're going to talk about him.
I think he'll be that player down the middle.
Really? Yeah. I'm scared now in case Mackie gets hold of that smoke bomb and comes and sets it off in here because Yeah, I mean,
It's just, listen, he's a natural goal scorer, scores with both feet. He's best down the middle. You know, the amount of goals he got from the right-hand side, if you imagine putting him for a full season down the middle, the goals he'd get would be ridiculous.
it is, yeah, it does seem like one of them that we're having to sort of switch it about a little bit. But, you know, it's good that we've got options, and we'll see what happens with whether we do get a right winger in, and whether Mason, or even if we look at different formations. Now we've got Van der Beek, you mentioned that. We're going to go with a diamond, we're going to go with two up top.
Yeah.
Is Rashford going to be shifting out more as a winger? There's different things that we can talk about. Just looking at the fixtures, the academy fixtures coming up, we've got Leicester away, as I mentioned. Then we've got the Scousers at home on the 25th of September at Leeds Sports Village. What's the script then? Are we still not able to go and watch that? Or
Fixtures all behind closed doors.
Oh yeah, sorry, I can't read.
And obviously the 18s as well. They'll be playing at the most training grounds, and they won't be allowing anyone in. So it's just, it's unfortunate, but
I mean, you're looking at it. You know, you've got Liverpool, we've got Blackburn, you've got Arsenal, Everton, and Tottenham as well, all within the first sort of 6 weeks or whatever. So some good fixtures there, and other teams that have academies that are highly thought of. So you're going to get a good sort of test out within that first couple of months of the levels that you're up to.
Of course, yeah. But like I say, we need to know by the end of the transfer window what players are going out on loan, because the players we've got now, they might be, reduced quite a lot. You might see more of the so-called 18s playing for the 23s. And but the ones to look out for really, Deji Satana, he's a good player. Anthony Elanga, he's the next one to make. He's the next one to make his debut. He's like a left winger, just amazing. Like he scored about 3-4 goals the same this season, where he starts off on the halfway line, all the way down the wing, cuts inside, takes on his right, smashes it top right hand corner. Just really fast, good player. Got to look at someone like Will Fish at the centre back. He's going to be. I think it's a good season for him to prove himself now as well, because.
What's his name?
Will Fish.
Will Fish.
Yeah, good name. Like Billy the Fish.
Good in the tackle. Sorry.
I
apologise.
But Tedden's obviously going to be moving up to the 23s, so I think he'll be the leader at the back for the 18s now.
Do you think he's looking bright then as a United fan? You like the academy. Do you think to yourself, I'm looking forward to this and exciting, or just a bit?
Yeah, I am, but you got to remember, I miss going. It's all about going. That's what it is.
Cold turkey, Dave. Bless it. Honestly, mate, you do. Speak to Dave, and it's like, where I am watching the academy, where I am watching under 23s, where I am. I'm over in Astana watching the first team. You're one of the few.
Well, that was an academy game, though.
It was an academy game, to be fair. You know what I mean? You do like to get your football in, and I don't blame you, because we've all missed it. And there was news today at the time of recording that maybe fans will be allowed in for the Crystal Palace game for the first team. Don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you, especially when we're just about to go into some sort of, not other lockdown, but the rules are going to shift. But hopefully the young United players won't be too affected by the fact they're not playing in front of the usual crowds. And it does sound like there's some good players there to look out for, mate. And thank you for coming on here and giving us an update. And after you've watched it for a few weeks, we'll get you on again this time next month. You can give us an update and tell us how the boys have got on. And obviously then we'll know a little bit more clearly as to who's gone out on loan, who's stayed, and what's going on with there. Dave, where can people find you? Still doing your bits on your channel?
Yeah, well, no, I've not done any because I've not been going to games.
Yes, no.
Yes, yeah, well.
Well, are you going to start again? There you go.
Just
now the games are starting or whatever.
Just if you search all the social medias or whatever they are for David Pritt, you'll come across me.
We'll put a link in the description there. You can check Dave out on his channel. As always, on Stretford Paddock, we'll have all the updates from the academy, from all Manchester United levels as well, and hopefully now the games are starting to kick off, we'll have all the reaction as well and the watch-alongs. That's been Dave Pritt. I've been Jay. This has been the Stretford Paddock Academy preview. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.